Hey, this is Andy. I'm going to take a look at another indie Sofubi figure today. This figure here is Jujin by GEEK, and it's produced by Medicom toys in Japan. This is indie Sofubi figure made in Japan. And this figure was first shown last year, 2013, at a couple of shows, exhibitions by Medicom. We've seen releases so far at Wonder Festival. Twilight Gallery had a release, and there have been a couple other ones. This release here, I think, was not a general release. I think they just made a small number of them, 10 or something, and so I'm glad to be able to show it to you. And there's a few interesting things about this figure. This figure is 12 inches tall and quite large. I think it's one of the major things about it is it's so imposing. It's got a number of points of articulation here at the arms, and each of the hands also articulates. And also there's some waist articulation here, but because the waist isn't completely round, it just goes a little bit both ways there. This is a really heavy figure too, because of the number of the amount of vinyl that goes into it. But it's got some really interesting characteristics. The figure here is very heavily sculpted, almost like lava was poured on it and dried or something. It's across the body you've got heavily detailed sort of body covering, but that's in contrast to very smooth face and hands and feet, and also the waist here. So that's a nice little contrast there. The figure is so large that the arms, even when you turn them out, you can still get the figure to stand up. So go all the way over there. There you go. It'll still stand. But it's a very imposing figure, and you just sort of put it on a shelf there, and it makes quite an impact there. So let's see here. Give you a sense of how big the figure is. I've brought out a couple other ones, and I'll show it to you here. So here's GEEK next to Balopus's Enma custom here, which I got a couple of years ago. There you go. I'll show you that. So Enma's a little bit taller, but the Jujin is quite a bit wider and has a lot more girth to it. So these guys would look really great next to each other side by side. You get figures like this, Ollie, some of the other larger figures out there, some of the bigger Yamamark figures. So yeah, this is definitely in the sort of a large figure category. I'd say that. It's one of the largest indie toys I've seen for in a while. And let's take a look at it next to a standard-sized figure. So this figure here is a standard-sized vintage Henshin Ninja Rashi villain. So it's around 8 inches tall. So you can see here the GEEK figure just completely dwarfs it. It's huge. So let's take a look at the figure now next to a fight figure. So here we have a Fingshit, which is 4 or 5 inches tall, and you can see a huge difference in contrast there in the two sizes. So this figure takes up a bit of shelf space, and it's really unique in its own right. It's interesting to see what they've done with some of the releases so far. I don't have any others to show you except for this one. But because of the strong contrast between the face and the hands and feet and the rest of the body, you could do a lot of interplay with that, which I find interesting. So let's take a look at the figure here from some of the different sides. And here's the back side. Turn them around. And on the bottom it says made in Japan, and then it has some kanji, which I think says Jyujin on it. So one of the other things I wanted to say was that this figure produced by Medicom, Medicom over the last few years has been a huge contributor, supporter of indie toys. And even a number of years ago, when few people were lining up to get indie toys, Medicom was still making exclusive versions, and they're doing what they could to support new toy makers, even toy makers that if they didn't have a name for themselves, or it didn't matter if they were from Japan or from overseas or whatever, they had a chance to get promoted by Medicom with their exclusives they were doing. I think that was fantastic. And it's brought to light a lot of really interesting stuff. And so, in addition to the beer brick and the coup brick and the 12-inch RAH figures and the other things they make, Medicom has really been one of the strongest supporters, I think, of indie toys, and I think that's fantastic. And so, shout out to them. And also wanted to say that sorry I haven't done too many of these videos so far here. This is only my second sort of look at an indie toy via video, is because I don't really have a proper video set up yet. And so sorry about that. I'll try to get some more down the line and look at some other figures that way. I think it's nice to take a look at figures through video. It gives a different perspective from just taking still photos, which I also like to do. So thanks for watching, and if you like the video, click like or comment, subscribe or something. And thanks again, and until next time, bye bye.